I've got a proper treat for you today. Today we are going to look around the brand new Axopar 29, and to show us around I have the man himself, Jan-Erik Viitala, who is the co-founder and the genius behind the whole of Axopar. So he's going to take us round.
Thank you. Well, thank you for the kind words. Yes, the Axopar 29 is actually having its world premiere here in Bad Düsseldorf. And we are so excited to be able to show it because there is so much ingenuity and so much engineering going into this new boat.
Let's get going straight away with the hull then. What's different about this hull?
Well, first of all, you're going to see it when we get on top of the deck. But one thing that you already notice is the bow of an Axopar always has its own prominent shapes and figures. But now with the 29, instead of the 28, we have a way wider bow arch so that when you're traveling in heavy seas all around the world, we're able to move water masses way better away and keep the bow from digging into very heavy following seas in general. In addition, what we also did is that we created a new higher side profile of the hull, so also capable to take more rough seas. Small additional design features just to emphasize the sportiness and the new revision of the hydrodynamics of the hull. The hull actually in itself has become 30% more efficient than the predecessor.
So thanks to
it's bigger, but you're still able to run the boat with the same engine as the 28, but at higher speeds and lower fuel consumption than the predecessor. Not that much, because it's a bigger boat with bigger volume, but still, you can do that with the new 29.
So more boat, but same economy.
Yes, that is exactly what we wanted to do. And in addition to that, of course, the whole hull hydrodynamics is revised. We made new air intakes and new steps. For those who don't know what a stepped hull is, actually that we have created two channels where air is actually being drawn underneath the hull, creating air bubbles that travel across the hull, creating less drag, because water against the hull has higher drag than an air bubble. That's one thing to get the boats up higher, faster on the planing speed, and also having the sort of neutral riding stance that you are accustomed with an Axopar, in addition to having lower fuel consumption and higher top speeds.
Wow, lots of interesting stuff going on.
Yep.
Shall we go and take a look?
Yes, of course. Let's go on top.
Fantastic. So very, very sharp at the front too. That's what gives it the soft ride.
This is all what Axopar is about. So we're having a very sharp entry hull. Well, with the 29, we actually learned a lot from the 28. So we could widen certain areas a bit without taking away the really rugged robustness and drivability of the 28, but create more internal volume because we're having a new multi-cabin inside, way more space utilization. So we've tweaked and we've fine-tuned and come up with, to our knowledge, the best solution for a 29-foot boat.
So that's what gives it a soft ride as well as the efficiency and the speed.
So we're not taking anything away from that sort of feature on the boat. We just want to create more space on board, but keep the essentials, which is the drivability of an Axopar.
Great, let's go and have a look up top.
Yes, for sure.
So Jana, this is the sun top. You do a sun top and a cross cabin. We'll take a look at the cross cabin in a minute, but show us around the sun top and what's new about it.
Yeah, welcome on board. So it's actually the first time we do a sun top for the 29 range. We took it because it's a high take rate on the 37, and it's actually made one of the success of the 37. So instead of having the small T-top roof like we had on the 28, now today we have an electric roof and the electric awning so that you can actually be sitting in the sun lounge configuration now with the U-Sofa, either fully protected from the sun or then opening it up to have the sun inside here. So actually what is so different with the 29 Suntop today is the interior layout of the boat and the forward multi-cabin and the whole forward section that opens up whole new sociable spaces on board on a 29-footer, and nothing you've really seen from an Axopar before.
So tell me how this whole new sociable seating area works, because this looks like it's in sunbed mode at the moment.
Yeah, this is now in a sunbed mode, but actually we're going to be showing you, this one actually pops up on a table so you can be seated up to 8 people around a very centralized seating area. So starting from this, it's also very cool few ideas and new things that you have not seen on a boat before. So this is now the U-Sofa lounge configuration. What we can actually also do, and now you can speed this up, is that we can actually turn the seat and now also be facing backwards. So you're still having a sun lounge fully faced forward, but you have a very nice lounge to the aft of the boat.
Perfect, and great, presumably if you're doing water sports, you can have someone sitting there keeping
Yes,
an eye
for
on what's
sure,
going on.
for sure. Actually, then in addition, of course, you can remove these as well. You can throw these underneath the table if you want to have them away. And now you have the full absolute width of the sunbed. As I said, either fully protected from the sun or within the sun. And actually, this doesn't even stop here. So,
Oh my goodness.
with this change, give me a second, we can actually take this and we can move it all the way forward. So creating this sort of a sun lounge facing backwards is also something I have not seen on any boat of this size in the past. So imagine being at a harbor somewhere, nice location, Kala, secluded bay, just relaxing, enjoying your day. This is like a proper seating area. And
Like
if we're going
Transformer
into
robot.
yeah, it's a bit, yes, and this is all what Axopar is about. So we've been doing boats now for 10 years, and we've accumulated so much information that we don't want to hold back. So if we find any sort of innovation or new solution, we really want to make this available for our customers immediately. But it actually doesn't even stop there yet.
Oh,
so,
come on.
so usually, the layout of these boats with a sociable U-Sofa on many other boats or other competitor boats, these are usually located pretty much back in the boat. And now on these boats, you can now also create a facing forward position where you will be able to sit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people very close, very protected from the windscreen for any wind chill or rain or anything. So this actually creates another multitude of functionality on board.
So particularly because of this deep wraparound windscreen, being
Yes.
that close to it,
Yes.
you're sheltered
Now
behind
you're
it, so
way
any
well-
apparent
yes.
wind or goes
Yes,
very nice.
because on many boats, usually these sort of sofas are placed next to the engine. First of all, you're going to have a lot of engine noise, and in the other way, you will not be protected by the windscreen, so you will, especially when you're driving fast cruising speeds of 30, 35 knots, you will have a lot of wind in your hair back of the boat.
Makes perfect sense. And then presumably it also transforms into a dinette.
Yes, and let's do that now for next. Yeah. So moving this one around. In addition, give me a second. Somebody closed the latch. Sorry. So, of course, we also have a lot of storage area underneath. So, taking this one, chucking it inside, taking the table. This is actually the table from the 45. So it's already
So it's the
ready.
same size table
It's
as
the
the
same
45?
size table that we have on the aft deck on the 45.
On a 29-foot boat.
On a 29-foot boat.
Genius.
So just to give you an idea of the space that we've been using here. Lifting up the table, a bit sticky, closing it down. Now you have a nice seating for 8 people around.
Lovely.
Of course,
Backrest. Oh my
putting
goodness.
the backrests back in place. So all about
So you've got a
functionality.
Beautiful U-shaped seating area.
Yes,
Sit
up
there,
to 8
have your
people.
meal. These spin around, do
Yes,
they?
these spin around the same. So of course, this is the one thing that is renowned with Axopar. So you can turn around, and also the driving position, if you're actually going into the helm, is still kept the same way. So driving by standing, leaning back, or seated down. Now, of course, also we have a nice padded footrest for you to take some support from when the weather gets bad, or just for having a good visibility out of the helm, or if you want to be looking over the windshield. So a lot of things goes into the boat.
I can see that already.
Let's have a look at the bow,
Let's
because
go.
that's where the magic is. On the 28, we had before an L-shaped sofa, but now, as we were talking about the widened bow and the bigger bow flare in the front, now we're actually able to create as an option a full-sized U sofa configuration with a high-low table which you can make into a sunbed. So this actually now is a huge area to lounge and relax for 6 persons easily. And also what we actually did from the 37, because the front-facing bench was so popular, we also incorporated the front-facing bench from 37. So again, this completely changes the 29 in terms of sociability. Imagine this on the cross cabin as the way. So you have a fully enclosed boat, but at the same time you have all this sociable outdoor area.
Fantastic. And storage under the seats?
Yes, of course. The storage underneath has also been improved, so we have quick access latches so that you don't need to be taking off any locks anywhere you want to go. So in that sense, very easy to get into and very easy to maneuver and operate.
Wow. And anchor locker up front?
Anchor locker up front. Now this one, as I mentioned, is way bigger than the predecessor, very easily accessed with a fixed anchor solution.
Brilliant. I love the fact that you can lift them all up without having to move the cushions or anything.
Yes, actually these are small cool things that comes up with doing things enough many times,
Yeah.
and getting tired of it and then finding a solution for it.
So I think I saw in there were taller table legs, so you can have that taller table
Yes,
up
we have that on the cross cabin. I will be showing you with the table up on that one.
Perfect. Okay.
And then the next cool thing that we have on the 29 is the multi-cabin. So opening up the hatch like we have on the 28 not only reveals anymore a small storage compartment, this actually reveals a huge area where you have 3 options. Either you can utilize it as storage with the soft decking underneath, so any sort of bags or anything you want to bring with you, you just throw it down and you have it ready. In addition, you can have a toilet, freshwater toilet. With that also comes a small integrated sink.
No.
So
How does that drain?
this one drains in the back, so we're taking this from the camper vans. The camper van solution is very nice working, and for us, perfect solution for the 29.
Brilliant.
In addition to that, we created so much space in the front cabin because of widening a bit the area of the hull that is above the waterline. We now also can take the staircase we walked down into, and with this, we use an infill. We can use this one to store our shoes or anything that we want to have in. And then the only thing I need to do is take the cushion, and I have a bed for 2. Just to give you an idea of the length, this is the length of the multi-cabin. So a proper occasional overnighting possibility, standard on the Axopar 29, or standard in the space is standard, but if you want to make this with the bed, this is an option. But
Fantastic.
Perfect solution if you want to have an occasional overnighting.
But you can also get it with the aft cabin if you
Yes,
want.
of course, and then you will be, for the first time on a 29-footer, be able to sleep 4 persons on board in 2 separate cabins.
Fantastic.
So a lot of things, a lot of thoughts, a lot of ideas and innovations have gone into the 29. So we're really proud, our team is really proud of doing all these sort of things, because yeah, it's been a long project into doing, and be able to see this in real life now, getting the boats out there and actually see the boats perform in the way we wanted, spectacular, very funny.
Fantastic.
Thanks.
Wow. So anything else to see on the Suntop before we go and take a look at the cross cabin?
I think the cross cabin is the next one. I think you're eager already to be able to see that. So let's move over and have a look at the cross cabin.
Let's go.
Yep.
Now, before we have a look at the cross cabin, just tell me a little bit about the engine options and likely performance.
So the 28 was performing very well with the 300 V8 of Mercury, and we actually wanted to stay with the same engine on the 29, and we actually were able to do that. So a bigger boat is now propelled with the same power as the predecessor. So with the 300 horsepower engine, we're doing somewhere around 41, 42 knots of top speed. We're doing 1.7 liters per nautical mile in fuel consumption, where the predecessor took 1.8, 1.9 liters per nautical mile. And actually what actually has also then changed is that we have a higher cruising speed range today. So you can select the cruising speed between 22 and 32 knots, and you're literally having the same liters per nautical mile, flat curve throughout that speed range. So you will be able to select the speed yourself according to conditions. And then additionally, we've raised the comfort cruising speed up to 36, 37 knots. And you're still able to do this under 2 liters per nautical mile with the 300 or the 350.
So, and the maximum power you can have on it?
Twin times 200 or one single 400. My own preference, I would say, I would go with the 350 V10s, single engine. That is a beautiful engine, perfectly suitable and actually made to suit the 29 in the best way. But of course, for those that want to go offshore and want to drive longer distances, dual V6 200s is also a very good match to go.
And maximum speed with that?
50 knots.
Whoa. And am I right in thinking you've also increased the size of the fuel tank?
Yes, we increased the size of the fuel tank from 300 liters to 400 liters, and this now takes the range up to plus 200 nautical miles, depending on what sort of configuration and weight you're having on the boat.
Fantastic. Now we're going to take a quick look at the cross cabin and see how that differs to become really a very different boat. So where do we start? Yeah.
I think we could actually start from the outside because
Sure.
there is so much going on with the new design and let's say this sort of industrial approach to features and functionality meeting together. So one thing, when you look at the cross cabin, all from the outside, the silhouette, the design, everything, going all the way to the blade design of the door. Usually on a cabin boat, you have a very ugly, basic, utilitarian look, but now even with the door, we created this into an integrated design feature of the boat that emphasizes the sportiness and the speed of the boat. But also, when you're moving around, functionality and form has now never been better because all the shapes you see all around the boat, they are here for a purpose because on a boat, you're always having rocking, so you're having a lot of handholds all around the boat, and everywhere you're moving, you will never have a sharp edge, anything that would hurt you on a day out of boating. So this sort of form meets function, evolution, comes now with the 29 as well.
Brilliant.
Then we have the aft cabin actually. So the aft cabin you already know from the 28s. You have a nice space in here on the back, but what we actually did from the first Mark 1 Axopar 28s is that we now have a loading hatch for the aft cabin. So if you don't want to have this as a sleeping arrangement, you can have this as a multi-storage. So just throw all your bags, everything down here in the aft cabin, leave it and go. That's one of the key features that we wanted to bring back from the the handrail. So this is also when the boats are moving around, you will always have somewhere to hold on to.
So you can open it underway and still...
Yes, or when you're having it at harbor and there is some waves or anything. So that's one thing. Actually, one thing, we are working on a new wet bar solution. Actually, I'm going to show it to you. So this is going to be the future way of Axopar doing wet bars for the 29. So we're going to have a top loading fridge, a sink, and then a proper Barbie that you can take on your beach with you. So this is how the fender box storage solution that is now way bigger than on the 28 can now also be utilized for having a proper top-loading fridge outdoors, outside of the boat.
So you can have the wet bar and the aft cabin
and
all on the same boat.
And any sort of modularity you want, you will always have this option. This is never deleted with any sort of option.
Neat little touches so you can store your ropes and hang them up.
Yep.
Very nice. And
all
seats.
around. So the steps, easy access, easy entryway, all these sort of things have been rethought. What we actually did with...
So that's because you can use
Yes.
the roof of the cabin for...
Yes, so we inverted the mold of the roofs in order to create like a very seamless handrail all around. So you don't need to have a stainless steel handrail anymore. You're just, having your hand in the groove.
And store your inflatable
this is
SUVs
actually...
or bicycles.
Yeah,
or...
and this is actually a cool thing we're going to be talking about later. We're launching the Adventure Collection with Axopar and Joby, and together with Sail Racing, but that's going to be another story following.
Okay.
So inside of the cabin, what we actually did is we created way higher roofs, so you have more space inside. We took away the threshold around, so you can easily move all around the boat today. Every nook and cranny has been maximized in terms of space. So we're taking centimeters from centimeters all around. But one of the biggest features we did is that we actually removed the C pillar of the back window and moved into a sturdy B pillar, which means that this now gives you a 360 overview of the entire boat. So either if you're driving and you want to have a good look backwards or reversing into
Close
a marina.
that door so we can see how.
Yeah.
So when he mentions the C pillar, normally you have a great big chunky moulding in there, but this time they've managed to take it out completely so that just that very thin little join between the two windows, and then you get fantastic visibility.
Yeah, so either if you're a driver and you want to reverse, or you're a passenger sitting on the aft seat, you really get nature now inside of the boat, and it's very airy and light all in all. when it comes to modularization and when it comes to changes for accessibility, for example, for the aft cabin, it's not this harder anymore. It's just opening this up, and now you have the aft cabin way wider than the predecessor. You can still have an infill in here. You can still sleep this way, but the one thing that is actually changing is that this way you now have way wider space. So looking in through the small panoramic window backwards, looking at the engines, but you will be sleeping way more comfortably facing forward.
So
and
it's
way
all
more
open
space.
to the cabin as well, and just feels a bit
Yes,
less
so
claustrophobic.
every single nook and cranny that we could achieve to create some more space, we've done that. Hidden storage areas around, so we have multitude of more additional storage areas all around the boat. Still the classical features of the top loading fridge, we haven't taken that away, but of course we made that a bit bigger. The classical sink in the helm, we kept that. And of course, one of the signature things with the Axopar 37s and all Axopars in itself is the drivability and the visuality from the helm. So that is all kept and perfected more from the feedback we got from our customers all around the world, and also the things that we wanted to improve in terms of functionality and visibility.
A huge sunroof by the looks of things.
Yes, that is something that is of course renowned with Axopar, having an electrical or manual awning for the sunroof, so that when the weather is nice, opening up the doors are now, by the way, way wider than on the predecessor. And actually, if we're going into the nook and cranny of details, the seat base is now actually a bit asymmetric, so you have way more space to move around on the boat on this side, and on the opposite side you have still the same space you had on the 28.
And these turn round?
Yes, of course. These turn around so you can have a nice setting even inside of the boat.
Wow.
So a lot going on. And then if we go forward, we were looking on the sun top with the table down and made it into a sun bed. Now we have here the table. So in that sense, now you have a very nice setting for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8 persons sitting behind the table. Actually, what we also did is we added a third leg, so that now you can also take the table, move this leg, and you will have a table even for here. So talk about functionality and different usability of space.
Fantastic. And the price difference between the open and the cross cabin?
Not actually that much. So we're talking about the 3,000, 4,000 euro price difference. And if we're comparing to the predecessor Axopar 28, the price increase on the 29 is only around 7%, so 5,000, 6,000 euros. So in that sense, we've done everything in our powers by eliminating overlapping parts, reducing weight, and getting smarter in our own production. And lessening of components. We have not needed to raise the price of the 29 that much. So we're still one of the absolute most price competitive boats on the market.
So 7% more price for 30% more boat.
Yeah, in a way. Yeah,
Fantastic.
you said it good.
Jan-Erik, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. It's been
My
fantastic to hear it straight from the horse's mouth.
Thank you. Thank you, Hugo.
Thank you.